between the role of the individual and the role of the state, and the unique responsibility of a leader.
In all honesty, this is why I say that most of your pastors, most everybody, they truly don't know the Holy Spirit nor follow the Holy Spirit. They spew this, and I have nothing against this guy. I don't even know who he is. I just happened to come across his video. He does the same thing all of them do, is that they have intertwined the role of the state and the role of the individual. They don't understand, because they don't look at Jesus's life. They don't understand that Jesus was bringing the political solution and the spiritual one. But if the people want to stay in their sin, then you will continue to have a government system over you, and you will continue to have the church tell you that God institutes that government system. The only reason he institutes the government system is because you choose to stay in your sin instead of following the true Holy Spirit in here, because nobody understands following that Spirit of God in here, not even him. It's the same thing I've heard my whole life, and it makes sense to the world. Of course it would, because it helps all the world conform. See, God has a role for the government and the role for the individual, as this guy says. Right, and Jesus was here to knock down those barriers, but again, it meant the people wanted his kingdom. His kingdom had no government. It had him as the king. I know none of us can imagine that. But as I've been saying, I don't think, sometimes I wonder if these people even believe. Like, I know most people would say, oh, you have your head in the clouds and you believe in things that, most people don't believe in. And it's like, yeah, I do, because I know what that Holy Spirit tells me and I believe it. But these people, they just help everybody conform to a system that Jesus came to try to get you to stop conforming. This is conforming. Saying that, and again, I'm not trying to, it's not about you taking the government down. It's about that if there were enough people that truly had the Holy Spirit of God within them, and they were truly leaning on that, praying to him all the time, surrendering to him, asking him to lead them in everything they do, that what you will find is he's going to pull you away, because he wants to create his kingdom. But the will of the people is always to stay in sin. And the way that this world helps you to stay in the sin is pastors like this that think that they're leading their flock the right way, when really by saying that, oh, there's a role that God has for the government, he institutes the leaders, they protect the nation, and he has a role for the individual. That's not what Jesus was doing. But they don't know the Spirit of God. As God is my witness, they don't. They don't. They don't. And I'm not blaming them. I'm not trying to say that all of them are wicked. It's just they've all, again, taken from where everybody else took from. God was here to give you the political and spiritual solution. It was up to you to follow the exact example the apostles and Jesus did. Jesus never once paid any government taxes. So what does that tell you about what God thought of the government systems that all of these churches tell you? That God instituted these government systems. You may think, oh, it was only talking about Caesar. No, because God always wanted to rule. The only reason he has to put the governments in place in these big, massive numbers is because the people choose to stay in their sin, even when offered the solution that Jesus gave you. But that solution has been so watered down since that Vatican in Rome. It's been so watered down to people just think, I've been saved, and what? You think that then someday you die, and then what? What do you think? Do you not think that Jesus, when what I would ask all these people, what do you think Jesus meant when he said, I have overcome the world? But it means you have to follow my lead. When I didn't pay, the only tax I paid, and even he didn't pay it, he had Peter get a fish, sell the fish, and go give the church tithing. That's it. So he showed in his life that he did not respect the government and he was God. His whole reasoning was because he wanted to take the system down, but it meant the people would have to follow the Spirit of God. And none of these churches that I can see understand that. Because again, instead of, if they did, they wouldn't be telling their congregations that God institutes government. Yes, why, sir? Why does he institute government? Because the people want to stay in sin. They don't want to follow the Holy Spirit. But what you guys do, because most of you went to seminary school, most of you learned from the other churches, okay? You want to find a way that Jesus' word was conforming to this world when he literally said not to conform. So when you say stuff like that the government's instituted because it's there to protect the state and you're then what you're saying is to conform. Yes, you are. If you doubt that, then please pray about it. In fact, please know the Holy Spirit in here because you don't. You do not. Most don't. Most have been so trained and it's been so passed down over so many generations that I don't even know if there's a way to break the mold anymore. I don't know. Because I don't think they can hear. Because I don't know how you get people, except for what I've been saying, is that you have to surrender to God every single day and talk to him throughout the day. Not listen to this nonsense. Surrender to him. He's right there. He's right there. He will work. He will be within you and he will walk with you and he will show you. Once enough people do that, the point was there's no reason to institute a government because God was saying all along, the only reason all of your countries have all this government is because everybody's leading my flock astray in all of the Christian churches. And nobody knows the Holy Spirit being the teacher and being the guide. Because if they knew that, then they wouldn't be saying this stuff. Because all of this nonsense that's being said is about conforming to the world, which Jesus' life and words showed not to do.